All right, after some technical difficulties, we're back here for our final match of week one here, OTJ feature matches. We got Preston, who's a bit of a new face in our league. Well, it's his fourth league, but his first appearance in the feature match, taking on our one of our stalwart veterans here, Jeremy. Been here since almost the beginning, and unfortunately, he was having a bit of difficulties with his computer, so he's playing on his phone, which means we unfortunately don't have a stream. So, Raphael, you're excused. You can leave now. No. uh, yeah, so maybe you have some insight on Preston. Was he not in your Abzan group in Cons League?
I don't remember to
I
be. I was
believe
really
he
just talking about
was.
the Absent group a little earlier. I don't really remember too much. I remember everyone had like great strategies, but the rest of that is like kind of like just a figment of the past.
Yeah, you just prefer to believe that Cons was never a set or a league at all.
Right? It's a good time. It's a good time. You know.
Yeah, so the one thing I know about Preston's pool is that after only one loss, he has 20 rares and mythics in his pool, which is play booster things. But we do see a pretty nice hand here to fight against whatever Jeremy might be doing over there with his beaver and a trick shot, and then form a posse for some late game punch here. Let's see what
Yeah, I
Jeremy's
guess
up
his
to.
idea is kind of just trying to outmuscle kind of this hand.
Yeah, I mean, hands with like Drover, Grizzly, and Beaver are going to beat up on Ravens for the most part. Like this is kind of like I mean, we don't know what else Jeremy has, but like this kind of board is emblematic of I think the format. Like you're trying to play Ravens and get your little fixing deputy, and the green deck is just slamming down big gigantic monsters.
Yeah.
And then I mean he doesn't have Snakeskin Veil or anything like that, but then they just leave up that one mana, and you're like, oh well, there goes the game. You're mapping out your turn. I'm going to play this. I'm going to ramp. Then I'm going to kill it on like whatever turn, and then that's not possible. But yeah, Beaver's coming down. Let's see if he offers the trade here.
It's definitely a favorable trade, right? Two creatures for your one creature, and you put a land on top that comes in tapped. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think Jeremy would take the trade. We'll see. Preston's not interested. He has the steer clear, which works well if he can get trample from the Grizzly. All right, got the crime land here. So again, we don't know what kind of deck Jeremy's running. It looked like black blue. Now he has a white green land. So anything is on the menu. That's an interesting
Oh,
card,
yeah.
Fibblethip. Have you played with or against
Yeah.
this card much?
Honestly, I've never seen it cast on the field, to be honest. Outside of pre-release, and it didn't do anything then. Have you?
Kind of played against me a couple times, and I wasn't impressed. And then I played with it, and I was also not impressed. Um, it can take over the late game, so maybe in sealed league, it could do a bit more if the games go a little longer and the decks are a little wonkier. But it also like there's a lot of stuff it doesn't combo well with in blue. Like if you get a counter spell with that, you just could never cast it.
Yeah, there's almost no point in
Um,
plotting it, right?
Plotting a spree spell, I mean, you might think, oh, it only costs one to plot, but yes, but then you actually have to pay the costs when you cast it the next turn. So you're not really getting a mana discount or at all. Like you're not really getting an advantage because you have to pay for it later. So and also it's just a 3 mana 1/1. Like yeah, it's not gonna get killed by removal because it has ward, but your opponent could just kind of ignore it and play big green stuff. We'll see if it ends up
Well, the
having an
advantage
effect
would
here.
be restocking your hand, right?
Well, it doesn't really. Well, it yeah, in a way, but it's awkward. I found it to be a bit awkward, and just a little
That's
small and a little, like I said, awkward. Like I see a Phantom Interference on top of my deck. I kind of just pay 1 mana to just get it off of the top of my deck because it's like I'm never going to cast it from plot because I have to pay 3 mana to make a 2/2 flyer, and you could never play it as a counter spell. So, like I said, a little awkward. I see the power, but I also see the fail cases, and I've lived the fail. Like I played it, it didn't lose me the game or anything, but I was just like I'm not really looking to play this card too much.
I'm trying to think
So
whose position I like more here, and I think I like Jeremy's position a little
I mean,
more
Jerry's beating
than
down with
Preston.
flyers here, and he's already got him pretty
Yeah,
low thanks to the flyers and a couple crime triggers here and there. I think he just absolutely has to steer clear here.
Oh, you have to. I don't think you can even chance this.
Let's see if Jeremy has some form of interaction to prevent this. I know the Emergent Hauntings 3, but I'd almost rather kill the Raven. It represents more hidden damage, I think. But
I think getting rid of the 3 is the right idea because you get rid of the
yeah, the
2
Raven's
and you go down
dealing
to
3 a
8.
lot of the time. Oh, here's another big one. All right,
Oof.
well, just playing. I mean, he might just be playing a black blue deck and just playing that to trigger crime as like a colorless land, or maybe he's splashing a white or green card. So not too much choice here. I think he just has to fire off the trick shot here to kill this 4/3. I don't. And then he could maybe attempt to race here with these big creatures. Just knock off the 4/3 attack for 9. I mean, that seems good.
I think I'm more into that also. Form a posse more than likely is probably the last thing you can do. But I mean, like, without the 4/3, okay. Is he going to offer the trade here and then potentially look to form posse?
Hmm. I,
I can't think Jeremy's interested in this trade at all.
I mean, I don't think he's interested in taking
Okay.
9 either. Yeah, see, I feel like I just would get rid of the 4/3 and press the issue here. This form of posse, I guess, is okay, but like
Well, so I'm
opponents
not
can
against this.
like I'd rather do it next turn. I think when opponent has less options, giving them the option to block
Maybe.
here. I mean, I guess it's good for like I think Preston's happy about this exchange. I would think,
I think
but
so also.
but I think I'd also be happy to just spend 5 mana to get that off the board and attack my opponent for 9.
So I mean, there is a window where Preston can just get the win now. Because if Fibblethip goes to like start plotting, that still gives him a whole turn of just kind of getting in there, making one big old trampler. It's what, 2 to saddle?
Two, yeah,
So you make it 7?
could he could. Here comes a forest.
Okay.
Here comes a what was that? Is that a Rutstein off the top there?
Yeah, it looks like a Rustine.
Okay, that's a card I
Yo.
like.
And can it get any other value? Because I mean, this isn't going to do it.
The thing is, you have to play. You have to wait till the next turn. So it's like I said, Fibblethip is it's a long play game here.
Ooh, that is good.
Well,
That is good right there.
if you like going wide, let's get even wider here. He can blow up the Silver Deputy and make 6/1/1s. Don't see how
Yeah,
Jeremy comes back from that.
I think I'm into doing it pre-combat, so you can just like pump everything into the 5/3, then saddle with the pests.
And have it be 9 power.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he just says no. I'm okay with just doing like that.
Oh no. Oh, not like this, Preston.
Huh.
I wonder if he's more like in his mind. I wonder if he's more worried about just killing Fibblethip, or if he's worried about the last card in Jeremy's hand.
I don't think Fibblethip is a problem here, honestly.
I don't think so either. He is playing pretty conservatively though. If he
Like,
doesn't fire this pest infestation off.
oh, I have to think he's just gonna do it. It's a kill a 1/2 and make 6/1/1s. I mean, this is I know it's the best card that I have access to in my deck, and it's
Wait,
been
is the
very good.
saddle one?
Yeah,
Huh. I thought it was 2 for sure.
he's just soaking up damage here. I mean, he's got to have something here, like Skullduggery or something or other. I don't think he's just putting both of his creatures in the graveyard and having the Grizzly live.
He might just be playing conservatively, thinking maybe Preston has a combat trick or something. I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out. I'm curious what that last card is.
Mm, that's what I thought it might be.
Skullduggery indeed. Okay.
So he can just let this happen and play the Pest Infestation. He still gets in for what 4 damage, and we'll
Yeah,
have 10 creatures in play. Like that can't be
yeah.
bad.
I think you just save the trick shot for the flyer coming down next turn, more than likely.
Yeah, he might have a
Because
big
Jeremy will
turn.
have
I
like,
mean, he might have a big turn if he draws a creature. Also, he might be
yeah.
able to play Rutstein and the Djinn for 1 less mana and something else maybe. I think I'm letting this happen and just playing all the 1/1s. Yep. Person agrees. He says, I'll deal 4 and make, and then how? have 9 creatures in play. This can't be bad, can it?
I can't see where this goes wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is quite a card. Like I only know this card in the context of like Commander, and it's a relatively new card. I think it was from like Strixhaven Commander, and it's like very good in Commander. I was like translate it back to Limited, it's still good. Like it's still insanely strong. It's just like X and a green make X 1/1s, and once in a while you get to blow up something.
Interesting. That's odd.
It's looking for, I guess it's like it's digging right now. Like he needs to dig more than he just needs like a random body.
Yeah. And there's nothing on top to plot either. Must be a land.
So he's at 9, kills one. It's not quite lethal, but it's very close.
So what does he kill here? Resting or the 1/2? What are you firing your thing off at?
I mean, Rutstein doesn't really represent anything anymore. Like he can just cast everything he has. Raven represents at least, a drain possibly. Okay, he says let me send these guys in. I'm not gonna let my mercenaries die for nothing, but
So it gets in for 7? Oh, he's gonna plot the 2. Okay. Okay.
interesting. Okay,
But it might just put on one of the
I
1/1s.
think he's just gonna trick
Oh,
shot the Fibblethip here to prevent digging. But we know
it
that
doesn't
what,
matter
but we
though,
know
right?
whatever's on top of Jeremy's deck is
Yeah.
it can't
Like
be that good
even if he
because with
plots,
with 6 mana he should have been able to plot it if it's anything decent.
yeah, even if he plots, it's not gonna matter because it's gonna be a 2-turn play at the very least. I think you
Uh,
just
just
pass the turn, ship.
just like 2 go wide turns, just really strong way to finish off the game here. Make 4/1/1s followed by make 6/1/1s. Like that's gonna win most games here. You just need to get rid of a couple problematic flyers, and then the board was clear for him to just flood with things. I mean, that's maybe a start to something, but he needs. I don't know if he's main decking the -1/-1 to opponent's creatures, but that would be quite something
He
if he was.
plays the 5/4. All your opponent's creatures
Oh,
get
that
next
thing.
to.
He's actually tapped out of black for that if he has it.
Yeah, that would be absolutely brutal.
Like I said, like I said, if you just got here, Jeremy's playing on his phone, so we don't have access to a stream, so we can only speculate on the contents of his deck at this time. But
I wonder if this
clearly
is like
playing
a
some
back
blue
more or
black.
something.
I mean, it's blue black. Rutstein is like a pretty nice splash. I would, usually be pretty happy to splash that, and probably has a couple more green cards hanging around somewhere.
So after game 1, how like even after the mall, how Preston's able to like claw back with like what 5 land start? What do you think his chances are going into game 2? Do you like him?
I mean, I think he has a good matchup here. Like we saw in the early game, like Jeremy got in some damage with the Flyers, but Preston just said, "I'm going to play bigger stuff." And then when the bigger stuff died, he said, "I'm going to make 10/1/1s."
Yeah, the Fortune Beaver put him work.
Like I didn't really see anything too scary coming from Jeremy. I mean, Hollow Marauder's good, Rutstein's good, but they're not as swingy as something like a Pest Infestation.
Yeah, I would say these 3 cards, all in black, are so far better than most of the blue that we've seen.
Yeah, well, he's going to dirge here. I don't know what he's exactly planning to do with it.
Probably trying to grab 2 creatures back.
Yeah, Razzle Dazzler and the bird, I guess, but
Must be
that's
thinking lifelink in
still
there, but
not
it's not
enough,
going to
right?
do.
No, that's still
No.
not enough. Still
If
three
he could
get
commit
in.
a crime, ooh,
I
that's
mean,
even
that's
better.
just. I mean, he's dead already, but he can show him an extra card, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's an
Well,
extra
he's
card.
deader.
I'll show you an extra card. I don't want you at 0. I want you at -1.
Brownie points, you know? It's like when you're at those Sunday commanders, you have to get off your checklists. Do not kill the person with the lowest life. Do not target someone. Play an artifact.
Is that what you do?
I don't play Commander Sundays, but I've heard there's
Mm,
typically a checklist.
okay.
-2, Richard. -2.
All right. It may be past my bedtime for doing all this advanced mathematics. So we see a pretty straightforward green red deck here with a few white cards. A couple of them, look, it's early days. I'm not sure what the composition of the decks are, but splashing for 2-drop creatures, I wouldn't always do it. But Trained Arix and Prairie Dog are quite good, but the other white splashes are fairly strong and take up the shield, path to exile, and leyline binding.
I'm here for him.
But
1000%.
yeah, the 2-drop creatures, it's like those are good when you get them on turn 2. When you're splashing, you're less likely, but he does have a lot of white sources for how few white cards he has. So, but yeah, we see some good stuff here. I see an ornery tumble lag there in the 3-drop slot, but he's done his best to keep his splash to about as much of a minimum as you can in week 1. Like I said, some pools just can't play 2 colors even close to it. I was about to say what's Jeremy working with, but
Jeremy is still sideboarding. There's a
got it.
glitch going on with his game currently. I can't exactly see anything happening. If we get this fixed, I'll let you know.
He has a Lurgoyf in his deck. That's all we know.
I mean, MH3 is going to be prime time for him. If
He
they put
must be
enough
happy.
Lurgoyfs
Yeah,
in the
there's
actual set.
what the Tarmogoyf nest. There's a Necrogoyf now.
Those are all commanders, though, right? Like commander cards?
Are they? Oh,
Or are they,
I don't keep track. There's too many products for me to know.
I'm right there with
I
you.
do
I
know
could be wrong.
I do know MH3 is coming to Arena, at least the draft as a draft format. So I guess I'll familiarize myself with what's in what product once we get there. This set was confusing enough with all the different products that we were expected to keep track of.
Baldur's Gate was what, 2 years ago?
AFR? No. Oh, the Baldur's Gate Commander Legends?
Yeah, when it came to Arena.
Well, it was the historic alchemy version of the set that we got. Yeah, that was 2022. That was the year of the Brawl League.
Yeah, so yeah. I almost forgot that was all alchemized. Like I completely forgot all about that.
Oh, you forgot that the Polar Bear was an alchemy card that fetched random fish out of nowhere?
I don't know why I thought it was like paper to Arena.
No. Well, it was even more bizarre because they took cards from the paper set and they used the same art, but the card was different.
Yeah.
So you'd have like Karlak or whatever, and his name would be Karlak, but like the thing after the comma would be different, and the card would do something completely different. This was an alchemy card. It was bizarre. Anyway, onto
Quick
this
question:
game.
Would you have kept this hand?
He has a lot of white sources, but it's iffy. I mean, your
Yeah, I thought
Bristleback
the white
Sentry is
was a
just going to sit
splash.
there and do absolute nothing. I think it's a bit more.
Well,
I think at about 7 cards, you can't really call it a splash anymore. You could call it a third color, but my definition of splash is a bit more stringent, I think, than most people. Like once you get past 3 or 4 cards, you're just playing 3 colors. Like you just need tons of sources.
yeah, I mean, he could go all in on the 3/3, right? Like if nothing good is happening, just snakeskin it because the natural counter it gets,
I
right?
can't imagine that he would do that in the face of any amount of open mana at all.
Oh,
Well,
you don't want to do it, but like, what if it just comes down to that? Like Jeremy just gets stuck on two.
we'll see.
Do you
Sure.
just shoot at the bristleback and just send them in?
I mean, in an ideal world, you draw your planes and you just win the game with that 2/2.
Oh my gosh.
Like I had a perfectly good draft deck today, and I was playing against. It was like a blue black deck. I didn't go. I didn't have a 2-drop. They just went Seraphic Steed on 2. On turn 3, I played something or other, and then they played the Grizzly um, and started saddling, and I was just like, huh.
I don't think this. Well, maybe he was, but he's definitely back. So I'm
Yeah,
switching to the hand.
yeah. I mean, unlike the last league where we were in teams, there's no timers on these games, so if somebody does
Ooh,
disconnect, they do have a time to come back. At least
this draw.
this keep gets a little better now, I guess, because you could play Bristlepack and then next turn you can attack for 6.
Yeah, or just plot the Coyote, whichever way you want to do it. Same thing,
Oh
right?
yeah, ends up. Yeah, this is better, of course. Of course, this is better. Like I said, I'm usually asleep at this time. Ooh, Nimble Brigand. That's a nice one.
This splash is feeling worse.
Mm, You call it a splash. I call it
Third color.
a head first dive. I mean, look, I'm doing it too. Like I'm playing three colors. I have it's not even a splash. I have 8 cards of my third color, and that's because just the composition of play boosters dictates that I have no other recourse until I get some more packs. And I think looking at least glancing at his sideboard, Preston's in a similar spot here. He had a couple of red
Yeah,
cards left that are not playable, and I didn't see the green, but I assume it's not like he's left lots of playables on the side
I'm
to
gonna
play
hope
this
for
deck.
Preston's sake, some white is seen or some action is drawn.
How
Well, that's
about how
action.
about a Tumblewag backed up with a Snakeskin Veil?
Yeah, I'm definitely into it. I
Is
like it.
that sufficient action here?
Just don't draw a count or don't have a counter spell, Jeremy. Let this happen. Let us have some fun. I'm down with it. Is it cool? Does it play?
It's not like you have
Okay, all right.
it's not like
What
you
are
have
you
money
doing?
on this or anything, right? You wouldn't be so foolish.
Let Preston cook is all I'm saying. Let him cook.
Well, it looks like he's gonna have a chance to here.
I love this combo. 3/3 and a tumblewag. Now all of a sudden, like this crappy common defender can actually do things.
Is the combo that you
Ooh,
speak of 3 lands and a Tumblewag? Because that's a 4 card combo that I can get behind. I
yeah, I'm into
I
it.
don't feel like I need to combine anything else with it to make it oppressive.
No,
I don't
Preston.
think you could ever Snakeskin Veil here. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
nonsense.
absolutely not.
I
I
mean,
think you just swing both, right?
you can only swing the 2/2.
Because it shrunk. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
he did that just to sort of fog an attack here.
I'm here for it. Now Jeremy goes for like some cute little kill spell. Snakeskin.
Yeah,
Preston gets white.
he'll
I think we're cooking.
he'll still be able to draw a card with the Brigand if he targets something, even if the spell fizzles. So one thing about crimes is if opponent fizzles your spell, you still committed the crime. Just putting the ability on the stack is good enough.
Hey, attempt is half the crime.
There you go. Well, attempting a crime is committing
Hmm.
it.
So black. Well, Jeremy did have black last game. That makes sense. Do you think
Yeah,
what's Jeremy's
no he was
splash?
no he's blue black and he's splashing the green
Ooh. What if this is a fake out? Then he goes
because
toss down
we
the
saw
south.
Raven and other black cards Skullduggery last game and Rutstein was his
Yeah.
green card. Ooh, decisive denial. Okay. I mean, this is literally just a
And
bounce spell. It's not that interesting, but it's some tempo, some much needed tempo here. Here's an Outlaw's Fury. Not really what Preston needs here. He's just getting tempoed and outvalued a little bit. But this Tumblewag
no, it's fine.
is here, but is now vulnerable to removal.
Well, I think
I
I'm
think Jeremy
putting the
used the
counter.
bounce spell perhaps to draw out a removal, and now he's like, I can go kill this thing now.
Wait, what is going on?
I think he's saddling to get in a big chunky attack here.
Oh no.
I mean, it's the same 4 than if you just, or he would have actually gone in 5, I guess, if he just
Yeah.
attacked. But
I like playing just towards winning. Like the 1/3 is it's just drawing Jeremy more cards. I would have rather put the counter on the 2/2 because your brushwag is or tumblewag is already a target.
yeah,
I'd rather spread the love around.
that's how I feel a lot of the time. And he used the Snakeskin Veil. So Jeremy probably knows unlikely to have another Snakeskin Veil available here.
Yeah.
So he might have
But
his
it's also got to be
removal
instant though.
now for the Tumblewag.
I was quite surprised he didn't
Huh.
like just punch the tumblewag.
Well, that's one you don't see every day
Is this the guy that you lose a life draw card?
when it dies.
Oh.
It doesn't give you the card on the way in.
Well, I guess you go naturalist first, right?
Patient
Naturalist?
Naturalist, and I think he's kind of, I mean, I think he's hoping for a treasure or a plains.
Yeah. I think you got to lead with naturalists. You got to sequence this correctly.
I mean, he might just go to attacks and with the Outlaw's Fury available because like all the blocks are terrible. Like all the blocks are like very very bad.
Trying to think in what world he just auto wins. I guess that's only if
There's a
oh there it goes.
plains.
That's a lot of lands. Okay, we're cooking. We're cooking.
That's a That's okay. This is opening up a lot more. I mean, he was already doing pretty okay without his
I don't
white,
think you have
but
to play the
it's looking a
siege.
lot better with it.
I think you just go to combat, buff up out of the 3/3 or the 2/2,
Well, he can saddle. He
just
can
get in.
saddle first, I think. Pretty safe to
Yeah,
saddle.
is it 2 or 3 to saddle?
It's two for this one.
I thought it was 3, but it might be 2. It's 2, you're right. I am incorrect.
You do have to read the cards at some point.
Reading the card explains the card.
Most of the time, yeah.
So what do you put in the counter on the situation?
It's got to be the two-two. It's the only thing that can potentially get killed by
Yeah,
blocks.
I agree. I agree.
Just make everything
You know,
super awkward here.
you can just make a super tumblewed.
Huh. Interesting. No attack with the guardian. I'd
Yeah,
just be looking to press the issue here big time.
yeah. I mean, he's probably just gonna run away. It doesn't matter how it's done.
Yeah, I think I like just having no possible decent blocks even.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'd rather just like swing out.
Yeah, like what is he afraid of? Getting hit for one and Jeremy drawing a card? Like Jeremy has four cards already, so I mean
I mean, there's
Jeremy can now answer the tumblewag but still be, in big trouble here.
yeah, it's gonna have to be a bounce spell.
Or exile.
Bounce, exile, anything that does not say destroy.
And if you have enough deserts, Desert Duke could do it, but he only has he has three deserts, so alright, here's a loan shark. It's like this is kind of the problem with the blue decks, and I love the blue decks in the format, but it's like you're doing all your cutesy stuff and your opponent's just playing big gigantic things and protecting them. And you're like, I drew a card here, I got a counter here, I flashback my spell with Lockpicker, it was fun, but my opponent just played 4/4s and bashed my face in the whole time.
I think passing here is. I think it's the right choice.
Okay, yeah, get this
With
out of here.
with two blue green up, it's probably like what Phantom Interference or something.
Could be.
Okay.
I think he might have clocked that Jeremy might not just have like a straight up removal spell, especially like something like Consuming Ashes is double black, and black looks
That's
to
what I would be
be a
thinking.
splash or at least a very distant third color. But he did play that two drop Occultist, which wouldn't exactly be a splash card, so he might be more three colors than it looked like. Oh well, no, he was splashing the green, so the black, yeah, the black was one of his main colors. I mean, there's a lot of ways Preston can go about this, but looks like he's just gonna throw everything into combat here.
I'm in for it.
No saddling, no nothing. Just leave up, take up the shield and Outlaw's Fury, and he says, "What could really go wrong here?"
This forces Jeremy to what?
I
Block
mean,
or die.
he's dead by this metric.
Or assuming he has something.
Yeah, well, he has to. Oh, it could be a skullduggery here. Oh, okay.
That is death. Okay, you've chosen death. I
I think Outlaw's Fury should do it. Yeah. I mean,
lost Fury or take up the
yes,
shield.
even
Either
even
one.
skullduggery would have done it, but
Yeah. So I
somehow
wonder if he
somehow
sided
does
this
not
in
control an
after the last
outlaw.
game.
Somehow does not control an outlaw. I mean, he has to have sided it in, right? He made 10 1/1s.
Yeah.
All right, so if you had your money on Preston, you are happy. If you had your money on Jeremy, you can try again next week. All right, so congratulations to Preston here. First feature match, first victory. So thanks for watching, and see everybody back next week.